Boom. Episode 15 of the Influencer Authority podcast. I have my automation goat here, Big Marv, coming in from the Pacific Northwest. And it's really nice to have you on today, Marv.
Thanks, Jim. Pleasure to be here.
And I want everybody just to know from the jump the reason that we're making this Influencer Authority podcast release and launch is because of that guy. So the reason that Jim Chester has another job is because of Big Marv.
You're welcome.
But I think a lot of what we're doing is proving concept and showing people that we eat our own cooking and that this is how you make the soup. And if we're going to teach people how to start a podcast, we might as well show them how to upstart one from the tools that we're selling to people.
Exactly. So I still remember the look on your and Luke's face when I was like, yeah, so we should just start up our own podcast where you're teaching people how to build a podcast. Let's start a podcast and see how it goes.
Dude, I was like, I was like, do you want to fight?
Like, so does that mean I need 2 sets of this and 2 sets? I'm like, yeah, everything that you do for Cairo Hustle, you need to do for this too. You're like, all right, let's give it a go.
Yeah, it's definitely pushing the creative envelope and the edge to say that we can do this. But this is not about me and this brand. It's about you and what you're up to. And the first question I have for you today, Marv, is when was the first time that you actually felt like you made it? And what were you up to at that point?
Like the first time I felt like I made it and I was doing what I thought I was meant to do was when I got my first Microsoft job. Like when I first landed at Microsoft, I'm like, yes, I finally did it, because my entire life, my mom, my family, everybody told me, like, you're going to grow up and you're going to be great with computers. You're going to change people's life with computers. You're going to work at Microsoft and you're going to do these great things, because I built my first computer when I was 10 years old. So I've always been kind of into technology and building things.
So Microsoft, what did that do for you professionally? And what did that do for you personally?
It taught me a lot about processes that actually use a lot of the strategy and things that I've learned at Microsoft in my day-to-day business. Now Microsoft taught me how corporate operates. It also taught me that once you hit 6 figures and you have the nice car and the house and the friends and steak dinners, like you still don't really get fulfilled, or at least I wasn't. My entire life I was working to get there, and then when I finally got there, it was just like, oh, this is it. I dedicated my entire life to making 6 figures at Microsoft, and you finally get there, and it's just not what it's cracked up to be.
So did you feel like you gave yourself a job that you didn't want at the end of the day?
Yeah, and we were doing incredible things. Like we wrote a script that relieved an entire sales team of 30 people. Hey, so we were automating servers, we were bringing people into Microsoft technology, and like the job in and of itself was awesome, but it just wasn't fulfilling. It's like when you make McDonald's $1 million, or the Navy or Marine Corps, you save them $1 million. Like it's just a drop in the bucket, but when I help a guy like you make $1 million, like that radically changes your life.
Yeah. And what was it doing to your personal health when you actually felt like, financially you'd made it?
Well, when like even at Microsoft and now, making the money, I'm not really motivated by money. I discovered after making all the money that money doesn't buy happiness, and the real resource that matters is time. And then that's why I dedicate my life into giving people as many hours back as I possibly can.
But I've seen you doing like great work, man, and you spend a lot of time with people and you really pour into people and you save them from jumping off the ledge and you give them all the tools and resources to get to where they want to be is what they picture as successful. And what does that feel like to you when you can actually pour into somebody with your most valuable resources, your time, and see them actually make it?
It's incredible. Like I said a long time ago that my life mission was to handcraft 100 millionaires. You know, I've only handcrafted about 17 millionaires so far, so I still got a long way to go, and it's incredibly fulfilling to help someone be able to focus on their craft and be able to automate parts of their lives and parts of their business that makes their business actually function better. You know, so by giving them all that time back, it lets them focus on their family. You know, have the weekends off. You know, or create your own weekends. I don't believe time actually exists, but it allows people their free time. And so when I start, most people that I start with, kind of like you, when you came in, you were on 10 different platforms, band-aided together. It took you tons of time. There was no SOPs, there's no process to anything. So we brought everything into my Automation Go platform, and like how much time and money that we saved you simultaneously while automating your brand, and being able to do that so you can be here and interview people and focus on your podcast and your craft and serving your tribe. Like, it means the world to me that I bring dreams to reality with technology.
Well, I think that's really cool. And, I just want to acknowledge you for being able to do one thing and then attach multiple things to it to make other people's lives better. And I think that when you talk about automation, some people probably don't know what that really means, but maybe you can like kind of like peel off the layers a little bit and let people know what automation specialist means.
Yeah, certainly. Because actually, one of the biggest misconceptions people have of me when they, book a call with me, is a lot of people think automation, because it's a word that it's like a fucking like a pop word that people just use now, right? And so people think, oh, he's just gonna come in, he's gonna build some kind of funnels, put some email automation, and that's what he's gonna do. But in reality, we focus on user experience, and it's like, what is it like for you to do your day to day job? What are all the little things that you're doing to make your business function and run? And then on the other side of the coin, what is your end user going through when they go through that process, right? Are you manually having to send them emails? Are you manually having to send them contracts or files? Are you manually have to do this? So we focus from lead acquisition, which is the first time you talk to a prospect, through fulfillment of whatever your product or service is. And we automate and eliminate human error from every single step of your business, of your pipeline, from lead acquisition through fulfillment. So like that's what it means when I say automation specialist, is because I'm not just looking at, oh, your marketing, for instance. I'm looking at your business as a whole, and how can we make your entire operation run smoother.
Well, I just want to touch on this. Everybody has a bad day, but when you have things on automation, it doesn't matter if you have a bad day, it still marches on. And
Exactly.
you have a day where you just have a case that I don't want to do that. Well, when you have things on automation, it's predictable that the processes will get done because they're already set up to do that. And I think that what I've learned most about working with you, Big Marv, is you're very intuitive with the questions that you ask to make sure that the systems get built on the back end. And that's the thing that I've found that saved people most time and money is if you want to learn more, ask better questions. And if you ask a series of better questions, you can save people a lot of time and a lot of money. And you can shrink the space of time for what it takes to actually deploy something and get results on the back end.
Exactly. I think communication is actually the number one thing for any relationship. So being able to communicate, and then actually framework out and build a solution, that delivers, whatever that result is. Because like you said earlier, success is defined in many different perspectives depending on who you talk to. Like, success for me will finally be getting my farm, right? I want to build a city called Marvin's World, Oregon, and it's gonna happen one day, but that'll be success for me. But success for other guys is having a penthouse in Miami with a Veyron in the driveway.
Well,
That's
it's like Gary Vee buying the Jets.
Yeah, he's gonna buy the Jets one day, and that's why he's building all these businesses, because he knows, like, money is not real, but it's a tool that you can use to facilitate what you actually want.
So I'm going to turn back the pages of time. And I know that you said when people knew that you were 10 years old that you were probably going to work in computers doing something. But when you're like a little guy, when you were like little Marv before you became Big Marv, what did little Marv want to do at 5 years old? And are you doing that now?
I always wanted to run my own software company, and
How did
yet
how did you know what software was at 5 years old?
uh, I knew that things operated on software. I was playing Nintendo. I was seeing TV channels. We were using Windows NT 3.1. Uh, so I was introduced to technology at a young age, and I knew that it had to run on something. And so I learned that there was programming and that there was software. So I was like, I'm going to build this one day, right? And it kind of fed my addiction playing video games and trying to learn, because old video games, they just have panels, right? And you learn the strategy. There's puzzles, and as long as you hit like the right spots on the screen at the right time, there's a strategy to every like 8-bit game that you play or 16-bit game that you play. And so I was breaking those down, when I was a kid, and that's how I mastered video games. And naturally, as I built computers, I learned programming. Like Python was the first language I ever used, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna build something really cool one day. The first thing I ever built was a Flash video game that ran in a web browser, and after that, I was hooked.
That's super, super cool. And for people that don't know about like technology and automation, um, you don't do all this by yourself, man. I know that I've been to one of your speaking engagements that you held in Nashville, and I know that you've done a great deal to um, build your resources and get people around you to support this vision that you have. What is it like for you to work with so many skilled people?
I love it. I believe that we all have a superpower. Everybody has something they're just innately amazing at. I actually have my own podcast, Big Marv's Network, and that's the premise of the entire show, is to just connect entrepreneurs together and tell their story, because everyone has a superpower. So I get to work with all these amazing entrepreneurs and showcase their different superpowers and tell the world about it. And naturally, that's a benefit to all my clients and students, is you get plugged into the network. So we all get to basically feed each other, right? Because if I need to build up my podcast, I can talk to you. If I need to shoot good video content, I have a video producer over here. If I need music artists, I have music artists over here at ecom. Like, there's all these different things that people are amazing at, and I can just tap into them, and everybody can tap into each other. So
So you said some stuff there that I just want to clarify for people. When you pay attention to other people and you bring them onto your podcast, you build relationships with them, and that fosters a working network later on. And I think that people don't really understand, like, how can I make money from podcasting? Well, it's not like always a monetary return, like having sponsorships or things like that. It's about the human capital and the relationship capital and the social equity that you build by doing something like this. And so many people are like, well, how do I make money doing podcasting? Well, you make money doing podcasting by building solid relationships, by paying attention to people.
exactly, like well, by coming onto Big Marv's network, because I have a pretty inquisitive survey that you have to fill out to even get onto my podcast. It lets me know exactly who you are, what you do, what your superpower is, what kind of impact you make on the planet. And then when I talk to other entrepreneurs and people and they need something, I know exactly who I can tap into, right? And then when that person does a good job for them, they're going to remember that Big Marv is the guy that connected them. So if I ever say, hey, do you have something like this? They're going to plug me into their network as well. That's where the saying comes from, your network is your net worth, because by plugging into all these incredible people, you guys can basically help each other's brands grow. Like Marcus Lemonis, he runs a show called The Profit, and his thing, he's a VC, and he runs around to businesses that are failing, and he invests into those businesses to basically bring them back up, right? and he will buy businesses that feed each other. So, like one of his businesses, they buy used cars. They're just a wholesale buy used cars place in New York. Well, then he bought a car dealership in New Jersey. Guess where the car dealership buys all their used cars? Directly from the business in New York that is buying all the used cars, because the place in New Jersey had a fulfillment issue where they could never get enough cars on the lot, right? So that by creating these digital relationships, you can basically apply the same theory, the same strategy to your network.
Well, this gets us perfect. You teed it up for me. Um, Third question, final question of this interview with you is, I know that you have an automation. It's called the GOAT. And you have something that you implemented in that called the dual funnel system. Let's talk about this current project that you're working on and how it's helping people.
Certainly. So I discovered that, the key to making people come back and buy your stuff on autopilot without feeling like you sold them over and over is by creating an indoctrination series and basically taking your prospect on a journey. Now, we achieve this with the dual funnel system because the dual funnel system is multiple funnels running in parallel to each other that are all catered to the end user's experience, right? So when somebody enters your pipeline, you're basically just asking yourself, where are they at? Where am I taking them on this journey, right? Because you're in position B and they're in position A, and they're looking at you as the expert to get them to position B. You're giving them the roadmap. So we build this dual funnel system, which is that roadmap, which is that journey that you're going to take this prospect on. And we use automation to automatically put them in the right steps of the journey. And this dual funnel system is powered by my software platform, the Automation Go.
So I know that you've done a lot of R&D, which in long language is research and development. How long did it take you to actually come up with this strategy and this platform?
We've been perfecting the dual funnel system strategy for over 4 years. When I first built it, it was built on a network of platforms: ClickFunnels, Kajabi, Slide Broadcast, Active Campaign, um, all kinds of platforms using Zapier to tie everything together. And it cost me about 40 grand, 35 to $40,000 a year, depending on usage, right? And so all my students were like, "This is awesome, but it's too damn expensive." And that's when I started building um, my own platform. We found High Level, which is an amazing piece of software. It kind of gives you the server backend, similar to WordPress. If you're building a website, High Level is like the WordPress to CRMs. And then so we put over 1,000 hours into developing our own version of High Level called the Automation Goat, and implementing the dual funnel system in there. Now collectively, we've put over $1 million of ad spend into different dual funnel systems over the last 4 years.
Well, I think that that's tried and true. And when you realize that there's a pain point, most people have pain points of um, money. And if you can save people time and money, that converts people over to being lifelong customers. And, for me coming onto your platform, I'll just tell people right away, I'm saving about $500 a month just because I'm not paying for the big ClickFunnels campaign account. I'm not paying for the big active campaign account. And I'm moving off of Shopify, and having that savings alone gives me a lot of more flexibility with my bottom line to do more things. So I really give you a big applause for finding all of the resources out there and basically mimicking them and putting them into a system that works for you and your clients. So closing out today's interview, I just wanted to ask you, who are your ideal clients and what is your avatar? Who do you want to work with?
My ideal clients, I actually fight with my partner about this all the time because I love doing things for people, and I'm always thinking about scale. I'm not thinking about where are you at tomorrow. I'm thinking about where you're going to be in 5 years, 10 years. So every system that I build, I want to build it for to scale to 1 million users. Now, to build that system, my systems start at $25,000. right? So most startups don't have 25 grand to just come in and say, Big Marv, build this elaborate system for me that can scale to 1 million users. But I've helped so many startups, right? Because when I got started, I didn't have a Big Marv. So that was my go-to people in the beginning. And it was like, I just want to help startups. But now I have a big team and overhead and everything. So I had to find a happy medium. So by having the automation platform and the agency on the side, it allows me to cater to both startups, anybody that needs anything. You can come over to my platform. It has all my training. It comes preloaded with the dual funnel system, every single account, and our accounts start at $97 a month, and you get every single feature on the platform. So we can really cater to startups, and then if you're in a position to where your brand is making 20, 30, $40,000 a month and you're trying to scale beyond that, let us come in and build your automation for you. But I mean, it does come at a price tag of 25K plus.
Well, I think the big takeaway here is give people what they want, sell them what they need, and meet people where they are on that journey in the automation series. And I,
Exactly. I always tell people I'm their Picasso, right? I'm your Picasso. These computers are my canvas. We bring dreams to reality with technology. So it doesn't matter what you want or what you need built. My team can do it.
so if people want to work with you, how do they reach out to you, and how do you get people started?
You head over to my website, marvinsworld.us, and there's a big button on there right at the top. It says book a demo. So you can feel free to book a demo with me. We'll hop on a call for 30 minutes to an hour. We'll jump into my platform. I'll show you how it works, and I'll give you a strategy of how you can utilize the platform to automate your business. So whether you hire me or not, you'll have a way to go.
Well, you have an amazing back end, and the blueprint helps so many people. You build clarity with people. Most of the people out there that have big ideas, the one thing that they don't have is clarity with those ideas. So you help actually, strategize all those ideas together and get them in some structure with some format that people can build on or off of. And I think that that's really cool, and it helps a lot of people. And I thank you for being a friend and a mentor and somebody that can help us get our brand to the next level. This is Influencer Authority Podcast, episode number 15 in the can with Big Marv. Thank you, my friend, and have a great rest of your day.
No problem. Thank you guys. One
All right.
love.
See you, Marv.
See you.
Bye.